Welcome back to Whispers in the Darkness. Tonight, we travel to the places history buried and time refused to forget. From cursed cemeteries and forbidden vaults, to haunted highways that still echo with footsteps. These are the historical and cursed places where the past is still alive and still angry. Turn off the lights and step carefully, because the ground beneath you remembers everything. Story 1, Cursed Grounds. The forgotten cemetery the construction crew thought they'd hit a pipe was 2015. A redevelopment project on the east side of Charleston, a stretch of land no one had built on in decades. When the backhoe shovel pulled up a wooden plank with carved letters, the operator called his supervisor. Within the hour, they'd found 6 more coffin lids, stacked in layers like someone had buried them twice. City records showed the area had once been a 19th century burial ground for a smallpox ward. Closed after the outbreak of 1837, when the hospital burned. They paved over the site to make way for housing that was never built. Over time, the graves sank, the markers vanished, and the land was forgotten, until they dug it up again. That night, residents in the nearby apartments began complaining of strange noises, knocking under the floorboards, faint voices drifting through vents. One woman on the 3rd floor told investigators she heard weeping every night at 2:17 a.m. It always stopped when she turned on the lights. Within a week, half the construction team had quit. They said the equipment would start on its own, floodlights flickering, gears grinding when the site was empty. A foreman kept a log. Every morning, the soil is wet. No rain. No sprinklers. Smells like rot. The city brought in an archaeological team to relocate the remains respectfully. But when they began cataloging, the count didn't match. The registry listed 212 burials. The dig uncovered 243. Each coffin was dated the same year, but 5 of them were empty. A local historian found an old newspaper clipping from 1838 mentioning mysterious disturbances after the hospital fire. It quoted a witness who said the bodies were buried in haste, without prayer or order. The final line read, "They will not stay." During the exhumation, one of the archaeologists collapsed. When she woke, she described a vivid dream: men in burned uniforms digging in silence, their mouths full of ash. Her pulse monitor later showed her heart had stopped for 11 seconds. The project halted indefinitely. The ground was recovered with concrete and marked as a memorial. But workers still claim the pavement hums on quiet nights, a low vibration like something breathing underneath. Locals say if you stand there long enough, you will feel a chill climb your legs and stop at your chest, right where your heart should be. They called it a foundation mistake. But the ground remembers who was buried first. Story 2, Hell's Gate. The history they tried to bury every town has a place locals whisper about, a spot parents warn their kids to avoid in the outskirts of Stillwater, Oklahoma. That place is known as Hell's Gate, an arched stone bridge said to be the last thing you see before you disappear. The bridge itself dates back to 1903. Part of an abandoned railway line used to haul coal. When the railway shut down, the bridge became a shortcut for farmers and teenagers until 1928, when a sheriff's report recorded the first of 12 deaths there. Each case read the same: found below the arch, no visible injuries. Cause undetermined. Locals said the ground beneath the bridge was just dirt. It was where prisoners from a nearby work camp were buried without markers after a flash flood drowned them in their chains. When the bridge reopened, people began hearing sounds at night, the clinking of metal and a low moan that rolled like wind through a tunnel. Drivers who stopped claimed the air felt heavier there, like breathing through water. In 1966, a high school dare turned fatal when 2 boys tried to walk under the bridge at midnight. Their friends watched them vanish into the arch's shadow and never come out. Search teams combed the creek for 2 days before finding both boys face down in shallow water. their expressions frozen as if they'd seen something behind them. The coroner listed both causes of death as cardiac arrest. After that, locals started calling the bridge Hell's Gate, and the legend grew darker. Stories said if you stand under the arch and call out your full name, you'll hear it whispered back but from behind you. If you answer, you disappear before the echo fades. A paranormal research team visited in 2004 with temperature sensors and EVP recorders. The footage shows the arch framed in darkness, cold mists curling up from the creek. At 12:03 a.m., one investigator says, "Do you hear that?" The audio captures a faint voice answering, "Yes, I hear you." Seconds later, his recorder shuts off. When they reviewed the data, his microphone picked up a heartbeat that wasn't his, steady, slow, right behind his last word. Today, the bridge is sealed off with concrete barriers, but locals still leave crosses along the roadside. They say if you drive past at night and look in your rearview mirror, you'll see someone walking under the arch, barefoot, wet, and looking right back at you. Some gates were never meant to open. This one never really closed. Story 3, Dark Secrets of the Vatican, Vaults Beneath Vatican City. Lies a labyrinth few have ever seen. A vault said to stretch for miles under the earth. Officially, it's called the Vatican Secret Archives, containing centuries of church documents, papal decrees, and classified correspondence. But over the years, whispers have grown louder that the Vatican's secrets run deeper than paper. In 1929, when the Lateran Treaty was signed, the archives became independent territory, untouchable, even to the Italian government. Since then, only select scholars have been granted access, and even they are restricted to specific pages, specific hours, and strict supervision. Every request is tracked, every visitor monitored. Yet, despite all that control, strange stories slip through. One came from a Jesuit archivist in the 1950s who claimed he was ordered to recatalog non-theological materials. He described the lower chamber sealed with an iron door, unlocked only by 2 keys held by different cardinals. Inside were wooden crates marked with years to 1566, 1897, and one simply labeled Lucifer. When he opened the last one, he said he found drawings of winged human figures surrounded by strange circular writing, burnt at the edges. The report he filed vanished within days. He was reassigned to a monastery in silence. Another rumor surfaced in 1984 from a Swiss guard who'd served in the papal security rotation. He swore there was a section of the vaults, walled off in the 1800s, allegedly containing a mechanical device that spoke without breath. When asked to clarify, he said it was an ancient automaton, said to recite words in Aramaic when the lights flickered. He said they called it the prophet machine. Even respected historians admit the vault's inventory includes items unexplainable by known science. Among them, an obsidian mirror believed to have belonged to a Spanish alchemist, a skull inscribed with an unknown alphabet, and a blackened spear tip that matures no recorded metal. Whenever new popes are elected, the vault is sealed for 3 days of The public believes it's symbolic. Insiders say it as when the air inside changes, as if something deep beneath the marble stirs from being disturbed. The Vatican denies it all, calling the rumors fiction, fueled by curiosity. But even skeptics admit there are no photos, no maps, and no complete list of what's inside. And in the city built on faith, there is still one truth that keeps resurfacing. The Vatican hides what the world isn't ready to believe. Maybe the devil doesn't fear the church. Maybe he's been kept there all along. Story 4. The Curse of Black Hollow Church. Deep in the Pennsylvania woods lies the ruins of a town that never should existed, Black Hollow. Founded in the late 1700s by miners chasing veins of iron, the settlement was built fast, rough, and faithless. That changed in 1798. when the townsfolk decided to build a church to bring light to the hollow, but the land they chose was already claimed. The builders unearthed bones before the foundation was even poured long. Weathered remains, twisted as if they'd been buried alive. The foreman ordered them reburied outside the site, but one worker refused. He said the bones were warm. The church, named St. Catherine's, was finished by winter. It was small, just stone walls, a bell tower, and a single altar carved from black shale taken from the nearby mine. On the first night of Mass, the bell tolled 13 times instead of 12. No one ever pulled a rope. For a time, the town thrived. Then the ground started to shake. Mines collapsed. Livestock disappeared. People spoke of screams in the wind that blew through the steeple after midnight. Not human, not animal, but something between. In 1812, Father Ambrose, the last priest to serve there, began sealing the church doors each evening with salt and ash. His journal, recovered a century later, described shadows walking in daylight and a smell of iron and fire rising from the floorboards. He wrote, "Whatever sleeps beneath the altar dreams loudly. It is not God who listens here." Story 5, Haunted History. The places time forgot, some places Dan T just vanished. They paused. They sit in silence, waiting for someone to remember them. And when they finally do, those places wake up. Across America, there are towns and buildings that appear untouched by time. The kind of places where clocks stopped decades ago, where light doesn't quite behave, and where the air feels too still, like it's holding its breath. Historians call them preserved sites. Locals call them haunted. One such place sits off an unmarked road in rural Tennessee, Harper's Mill. Abandoned since 1948, the mill still smells faintly of grain and smoke. Everything inside remains as it was, tools rusted mid-swing, coffee cups fossilized in dust. Visitors report hearing the grinding of millstones when the air is completely still, even though the gears were removed long ago. Locals say, if you listen closely, the rhythm matches a heartbeat. Another is the Hawthorne Hotel. In Massachusetts, closed for renovation in 1961 and never reopened. Travelers passing by still see its top floor lit some nights, a single lamp glowing behind a curtain. But when inspectors entered in 2015, they found no power lines connected to the building at all. Inside, the furniture was pristine, as if cleaned weekly. And carved faintly into the dust on the lobby desk were 5 words. Check-in never means check-out. In Nevada, a ghost mining town named Delmer was unearthed during drought season. What startled archaeologists wasn't the artifacts, it was the footprints. Hundreds of them scattered across the dried mud, leading toward the mountains. Thermal scans showed residual heat in some prints, as if they'd been made hours before, not a century. And in England, just beyond the cliffs of Cornwall, stands the ruin of Belmar Abbey, sealed since 1819, when the walls were first reopened for restoration. The workers heard music echoing inside, faint, distant, and impossible. The melody came from an old hymn lost to time, sung by a choir that history says was buried in the plague. The sound lasted exactly 3 minutes before fading forever. The stone walls vibrated long after the silence fell. Each of these places has one thing in common: they refuse to decay. It's as if whatever lingers inside keeps them frozen, not alive, but not gone either. As though time itself fears to touch them. Travelers call them cursed. Historians call them mysteries. But maybe they read just memories that got tired of being forgotten, still replaying their last moments. Over and over, until someone listens. You can't haunt the past if the past never left. Old state routes that were rerouted, abandoned, or erased, not because they were unsafe, but because something was waiting there. It's officially called Cosart Road, just outside Chadds Ford, a twisting, tree-covered lane where branches arch over the pavement like ribs. By daylight, it's beautiful. By night, it's something else. In the 1930s, locals said the DuPont family built a secret house off that road, one used for rituals, where the rich whispered prayers not found in any church. People who tried to find it spoke of black cars appearing in their rearview mirrors, headlights off, engine silent. If they slowed down, the cars vanished. If they didn't, they said the forest itself shifted, the road curving back on itself, no matter which way they turned. In 1977, 2 college students tried to prove it was just a story. They left a tape recorder running in their car as they drove the loop at midnight. Halfway through the recording, they started arguing, the sound of gravel under their tires getting louder until the tape ended in static. Their car was found the next morning, parked perfectly in the middle of the road. The doors were open, the keys were still in the ignition, but the seats were warm and both students were gone. Police ruled it a disappearance. Locals called it a sacrifice. Other devil roads exist too, scattered across the country, sharing the same pattern. In Texas, Route 666 was renamed because too many drivers reported shadow figures running alongside their vehicles. In Arizona, a mile marker was removed entirely because truckers swore they saw a woman in white standing beside it every night, and when they passed her, she appeared in the passenger seat. Some say the roads connect old routes laid over older trails, built on burial grounds, trade paths, and places that were never meant to be crossed. A folklorist from Colorado once claimed they reparted the same line, a single scar across the continent. He called it where time and death run thin. No one's ever proven it, but travelers still vanish. Cars are still found idling with doors open, keys in place, engines cold. Locals have one rule for anyone tempted to drive these roads after dark. If your GPS starts rerouting itself, don't follow it. And if you see a second pair of headlights behind you, don't look back. Some roads take you somewhere, others just take you